The mist on the headland came in low, moving like it had somewhere to go. But unhurried the coastal mist, taking everything onto its list of things to touch before it lifts. The lighthouse first, then the cliffs edge, then the pine trees in a row, then the road, and then the van below. I watched it from the passenger seat, the mandolin warm against the heat of the morning that the mist was delaying, the mandolin gently playing to the mist, which didn't listen but kept on moving, kept on glistening on the pine needles and the grass, the mandolin playing as the mist passed. Mist on the headland moving slow, the mandolin playing what the mist will know when it lifts and the headland's clear, that the music was here, right here. Mist on the headland, gray and white, between the dark and the morning light, the mandolin playing the boundary line between what's yours and what is mine. The headland in the mist is mine, the headland in the sun is everyone's. The mist gives back the coast to those who come before the blue day shows its best and most crowded face. The mist is the entrance fee to the place before the place is a place at all. Just the mist and the mandolin call. Lifted around 10, the mist, the headland first on the list of things revealed, then the cliff, the pine trees, then the whiff of the morning proper, the full sky, the mist having done what the mist does by existing first and then giving way, the mandolin finishing the gray. Mist on the headland moving slow, the mandolin playing what the mist will know when it lifts and the headland's clear, that the music was here, right here. Mist on the headland, gray and white, between the dark and the morning light, the mandolin playing the boundary line between what's yours and what is mine. Mist on the headland, oh, lifting slow, mandolin, let it go. The old anchor on the harbor wall, rusted red and 3 feet tall, from a vessel nobody knows the name of, the anchor outlasting everything it came of, the ship and the crew and the cargo gone, the anchor staying on and on at the harbor wall is a reminder of something, the guitar finder. I sat beside the anchor for an hour, watching the harbor in the afternoon power of the light on the water, the boats coming in and the seagull notes. Above the fish duck the ice machine, running all the time unseen. The harbor doing what harbors do, the guitar finding something true. Anchor on the harbor wall, the guitar playing through the fall of the afternoon light on the bay. The anchor staying when all else went away. Anchor rusted red and real, the guitar playing what I feel about the things that hold their place when everything else leaves a space. I wanna be an anchor, not literally, not in the sea, but in the way the anchor is still there, still completely itself after everything that made it what it was is gone. Just the anchor, just because. Left the anchor at the wall, of course, the guitar playing one last chorus for the vessel it was never gonna name. The anchor in the afternoon, the same as when I came, which is the point. The anchor doesn't disappoint by changing while you're gone. The anchor, the harbor, the song. Anchor on the harbor wall, the guitar playing through the fall of the afternoon light on the bay. The anchor staying when all else went away. Anchor rusted red and real, the guitar playing what I feel about the things that hold their place when everything else leaves space. Anchor, hold your ground. Anchor, still around. Driftwood comes from somewhere else, from a tree that was a forest shelf of somebody's watershed upstream, before the river took it in the stream of the last winter's flooding brought it down to the sea, where I caught it with my eye at the tide line there, bleached and smooth and beyond repair. Driftwood is the best furniture for a camp on the beach. The nurture of the wind has sanded every edge. The sun has blanched it at the ledge of what wood is before it's wood. The driftwood becoming what it could only become by going through the river and the sea in the sun's view. Driftwood, where have you been? The pedal steel singing what it's seen of the journey from the forest floor to the tide line, and nothing more. Driftwood, smooth and wild, the pedal steel bending toward the light of what the wood became on the way. Driftwood at the end of the day. Everything rhymes to something else. The driftwood was a tree on forest shelves. The sand was a mountain somewhere far. The salt was a freshwater reservoir. And nothing on this beach was always here. Everything arrived through a different year of becoming what it is right now. The pedal steel understands this somehow. Took a piece of driftwood when I left. Not theft exactly, more like the heft of carrying a reminder back of the beach and the tide and the perfect lack of anything I needed to improve. The driftwood sat in the van's groove, between the seats all the way home. The pedal steel playing the ocean's poem. Driftwood, where have you been? The pedal steel singing what it's seen of the journey from the forest floor to the tide line, and nothing more. Driftwood, smooth and white, the pedal steel bending toward the light of what the wood became on the way. Driftwood, at the end of the day. Driftwood, smooth and white, pedal steel into the night. Dove the kelp forest in the afternoon, the visibility good, the water cold blue-green, the kelp going up 60 feet above to the surface light that the otter loves. I hung in the middle and watched it sway in the current, the kelp forest way of moving like it's breathing slow. The violin knows this, the violin knows. Kelp forest, 60 feet of green, the most alive place I've ever been. Below the surface, below the noise, below the wind and the human voice. Kelp forest, cathedral light filtering down from the world of bright into the dim and the cold and the deep. The violin playing the kelp to sleep. A Garibaldi cross did I height, orange against the green, the light catching it like it was made to be seen by exactly this version of me at this depth, at this moment, alone in the kelp forest, which is someone's home. I was the visitor, they were the host, the violin playing the submarine coast. There's a world below the world we drive that's been alive the whole time we've been alive on the surface, making plans and noise. The kelp forest hasn't heard our voice. The otter heard it, the seal heard it, but 30 feet down the forest knit itself together in the current's pull, entirely silently full. Came up into the chop and the sun, the kelp forest still below, still done, with nothing except being what it is down there in the cold, entirely his own thing. The forest of the sea that doesn't know or need me to witness it, but lets me come, the violin playing what I've become. Kelp forest, 60 feet of green, the most alive place place I've ever been. Below the surface, below the noise, below the wind and the human voice. Kelp forest, cathedral light filtering down from the world of bright into the dim and the cold and the deep. The violin playing, the kelp to sleep. Kelp forest, 60 feet, violin complete. The fog came through the pines at 6, moving slow in its morning mix of salt and cold, and the green wet smell of redwood bark, and the morning bell of a single bird I couldn't name that sang 3 notes and then became silent in the fog which swallowed it, the way the morning swallows everything bit by bit. I lay in the tent and listened long to the fog doing its silent song of moving through and touching all the pine needles on the forest wall, the water beating on the fly sheet tight, the last hour of the sleeping light before the day declared itself and put the fog back on its shelf. Morning fog through the pines, moving slow through the morning lines of tree and branch and needle in air, the fog making everything rare. Morning fog, don't hurry through, the morning needs what only you can give it at the start of the day, the soft gray dissolving way. Got up when the fog began to lift, caught the exact moment of the shift from gray to gold in the upper trees, the fog retreating in degrees of brightness, letting go the pines one by one in the brightening lines of coastal morning coming in, the banjo starting where the fog had been. Morning fog through the pines, moving slow through the morning lines of tree and branch and needle in air, the fog making everything rare. Morning fog, don't hurry through, the morning needs what only you can give it at the start of the day, the soft gray dissolving way. Fog that stays in the afternoon has a quality of light, a softness left over from the morning's gift of gray, which the sun absorbed and kept in the green of everything that slept under the fog, which is a different green than the sun green, if you know what I mean. at 11 when the beach was clear, the water dark and the stars severe. In their brightness, the phosphorescence coming alive in my wake, the presence of the ocean at night, which is its truest self. The night ocean is a different shelf of experience from the day version. The flute knows this, the flute's immersion. Cold came in degrees as I went deeper, the phosphorescence brighter, the dark steeper. On all sides except the star side up, the ocean at night filling my cup with the thing I came for, which I couldn't name before I came, which is always the game with the things you need most. You can't say until you're in the ocean at midnight. Night swim, the water dark and bright, the phosphorescence lighting up the night. Every stroke leaving green fire behind, the flute playing what I couldn't find words for, which is why I swam instead of wrote, instead of cram the feeling into language. Let it be a night swim, just the stars and me. Decision you make when the day has given everything it has and hasn't been quite enough. The night between the last light and the sleep is real in a way the day can never feel. The ocean at night confirms this, the flute playing the night abyss came out when I couldn't feel my feet. The towel on the sand, the sweet relief of warmth, the phosphorescence still on my arms, the luminescence fading as the salt dried down. The flute still playing as I found the van and the blanket and the dark, the night swim phosphorescent in my heart. Night swim, the water dark and bright, the phosphorescence lighting up the night. Every stroke leaving green fire behind, the flute playing what I couldn't find words for, which is why I swam instead of wrote, instead of cram the feeling into language. Let it be a night swim, just the stars and me. The otters at the point came out at 3, rolling on their backs in the kelp free zone they'd carved by rolling along, the banjo playing their floating song. 2 of them together in the swell, the way they float, the way they tell each other things by touching paws, the banjo playing without pause. One dove and came back up with something, the other reached the whole thing, nothing but transaction, and then grooming the afternoon around them, blooming into gold, while the otters stayed entirely themselves, entirely played out in the swell without a care, the banjo playing, the 2 of them there. the most content things I'll ever see. Otter Point paws in the air, the afternoon going everywhere except past them, which is fine. The otters and the banjo and the brine. I've been trying to learn from otters how to float in troubled waters, how to stay horizontal in the swell, how to find the thing that feeds you well, and then roll over in the sun and groom yourself when you are done, and reach for the other one and share whatever you have won. Stayed until they dove for the last time, the banjo finishing its rhyme on the Otter Point. The point being that an afternoon of seeing two otters be entirely otters is the best use of the afternoon's orders that I found. The banjo agreeing, Otter Point, the point of being. Otter Point, 3 p.m. the banjo playing, the two of them rolling in the kelp canopy, the most content things I'll ever see. Otter Point paws in the air, the afternoon going everywhere except past them, which is fine. The otters and the banjo and the bride. The sea. The pine needle floor's the softest ground for sleeping on when you're campsite bound. 2 inches of dry needle over the earth, the cheapest mattress of any worth I've ever laid on. And the smell when the body heat releases what fell from the pine through the seasons gone before I came and slept upon. Woke with pine needles in my hair, the morning light coming square through the gap in the canopy above the pine needle floor, and the morning love of being exactly where you are. Not too close to home, not too far, just the pine needle floor beneath, and the pine smell on every breath. Pine needle floor, green and brown, the softest place to lay me down after the driving and the finding and the loss of whatever I came here to cross. Off the list of things I'm carrying, the pine needle floor is marrying me to the ground for one night's sleep. Pine needle floor, mine to keep. Banjo and the pine needle morning have the same quality of adorning the ordinary with a specific grace that belongs to this particular place. Not transferable, not packaged up, not available in any cup of anything you drink at home. The pine needle floor, the banjo alone. Made breakfast on the pine needle ground, the camp stoves hiss, the only sound, competing with the Stellar's jay, who wanted what I was cooking today. I gave him a corner of the bread, he looked at me and then he fled back up to the pine above my head and dropped a needle on my instead. Pine needle floor, green and brown, came here to cross off the list of things I'm carrying. The pine needle floor is marrying me to the ground for one night's sleep. Pine needle floor, mine to keep. Pine needle floor, lay me down. Pine needle floor, softest ground. Rain on the canvas, tent at 4. The best percussion I've heard before or since. The different weights of drops, the heavy ones and the light that stops and starts again in the cedar canopy. The rain doing its syncopated symphony on the canvas while I stay inside. Nowhere to be, nowhere to hide. Made coffee without leaving the tent, one arm out in the rain, which meant I got one sleeve wet but the coffee hot, which is the best deal I ever got. On a rainy morning on the coast, the rain the guest and me the host of whatever the weather wanted to do, while the lap steel played the whole thing through. Rain on canvas, rain on pine, rain on the ocean, rain on the vine of coastal ivy running up the tree. Rain on the tent and rain on me. Rain on canvas, the sound complete, the lap steel low under the beat of the rain which knows what music is. Rain on canvas, all of it here. The rain in the forest is different from the rain in the city street. In the city it just falls and goes. In the forest it moves, repeats through the canopy to the fern below, through the fern to the root below, down into the water table deep. The forest rain is not asleep. It rained until the afternoon, the lap steel playing every tune I knew, and some I made up on the spot. The rain, the melody, the lap steel, the thought. Underneath it, the low and slow, comment on what the rain didn't know it was doing, which was giving me the best day of the entire week. Rain on canvas, rain on pine, rain on the ocean, rain on the vine of coastal ivy running up the tree. Rain on the tent and rain on me. Rain on canvas, the sound complete, the lap steel low under the beat of the rain which knows what music is. Rain on canvas, all of it is. Rain on canvas, going slow. Rain on canvas, Running back to where the salt meets the pipe, Coming back to the oldest design of what the coast is on its most itself. The forest on one shelf, the ocean the other. The two of them together, one another's company since before the road was here, before the van, before this particular year of needing exactly this exact place. The pine smell hits before the salt. The forest always gets there first by default of the wind direction off the sea, bringing the salt after the tree has already told you where you are. You don't need the sign or the road scar through the forest, you know by the nose. Salt and pine, the way the coast goes. Salt and pine, salt and pine. At the end of everything, still find the guitar and the violin together, playing through the coastal weather. Salt and pine, full circle now. The coast doing its ancient vow of being here when you come back. Salt and pine, still on track. I've been to the Kelp forest and the Cove, the Otter Point, and the night I dove into the phosphorescent sea. The driftwood and the anchor and the pine needle me, sleeping on the forest floor. The fog through the pines and the cove and more. And I come back to where I started, salt and pine, wholehearted. Park the van where the trail meets the road, the same spot, the same old code of belonging that the place gives back to anyone who knows the track, down to where the pine trees end and the salt air takes the final bend into the lungs, into the chest. Salt and pine, the test past the rest. Salt and pine, salt and pine. At the end of everything, still find the guitar and the violin together, playing through the coastal weather. Salt and pine, full circle now. The coast doing its ancient vow of being here when you come back. Salt and pine, still on track. Salt and pine, still here. Salt and pine, always here. Where the salt air meets the pine trees tall, where the fog hangs low on the coastal wall, where the road ends and the trail begins, where the coast redwood finally wins against the wind, against the gray. I pitched the tent at the end of the day, the pine smell and the ocean sound, the best two things I've ever found. Built a fire from the fallen branch, the pine resin catching at first chance. The smoke went up through the canopy high into the gap of the evening sky. The stars came one by one to check on the fire and the human wreck of someone who needed this exact combination to get back on track. Salt and pine, everything I need at at the same time. The ocean one side, the forest the other. Salt and pine like a hand and a cover. Salt and pine, the oldest cure for the things the city couldn't endure. Out here where the two worlds meet, salt and pine complete. Some places you have to plan for weeks. Some places you find when the road just seeks its own level, its own end, where the coast comes round the final bend and deposits you between the trees and the ocean in the salt-soaked breeze. That's neither one thing nor the other. Salt and pine like a twin and a brother. You don't need to go far, you need to go here, where the salt meets the pine and the coast meets the clear green smell of the forest and the blue smell of sea. Salt and pine, that's the medicine for me. Salt and pine, everything I need at the same time. The ocean one side, the forest the other. Salt and pine like a hand and a cover. Salt and pine, the oldest cure for the things the city couldn't endure. Out here where the two worlds meet, salt and pine complete. Found a cove by accident at noon, going the wrong way but arriving soon at the right place, which is always the way. The best ones go on the best days. The cove curved inward from the cliff, the water turquoise in the lift of the midday light through the shallow shelf. The cove keeping its beauty to itself. Sat on the rock shelf at the edge, the piano notes coming off the ledge of the cliff above, which made no sense except the music in the present tense of a cove in the afternoon. Alone is always there, waiting to be known by whoever sits long enough to hear the cove's own music become clear. The cove at midday blue, the piano playing what only you can hear when the water is this clear and the world has gotten small and near. The cove, the turquoise shelf, the cove keeping its music to itself until you sit still long enough to hear the cove's music in return. Doesn't give itself away to anyone who's only passing through. The cove asks you to stay long enough to let the color do what color does in the right light, in the right afternoon, the right amount of quiet in the right small space. The cove gives its music to the patient face. The cove when the tide came in, the water rising to my chin of the rock shelf, which was its way of saying that was enough for today. I scrambled back and watched it fill from the path above. The cove still beautiful in its new high waterfall. The piano quiet before the storm. The Cove at midday blue. The piano playing what only you can hear when the water is this clear and the world has gotten small and near. The Cove, the turquoise shelf. The Cove keeping its music to itself until you sit still long enough to earn the Cove's music in return. The Cove, turquoise blue. The Cove carrying you. Yeah. I keep the tide table on the dash next to the coffee in the parking cash. Low tide at 6:42 a.m., high tide at 1, and then again at the end of the day when the light goes low. The tide table tells me where to go and when to go and what to find on the beach that the low tide leaves behind. The tide table is the only plan I need. The tide table is the only schedule to read. Tide table, morning time in the sea. The mandolin playing the tide for me. Low tide low, high tide high. The coast doing its thing under the sky. Tide table, I'll be there at 6 with the mandolin and the morning mix of salt and coal in the empty beach. The tide table putting it in reach. Found a sand dollar at low tide point 3, intact and white, which never comes free. On a beach with any kind of surf, I held it like it had a worth. Beyond the market, beyond the shelf, just the sand dollar being itself on the palm of someone standing where the tide table said the sand would be bare. The tide table is the only map I trust. The tide table is the only thing I must. Tide table, morning time in the sea. The mandolin playing the tide for me. Low tide low, high tide high. The coast doing its thing under the sky. Tide table, I'll be there at 6 with the mandolin and the morning mix of salt and coal in the empty beach. The tide table putting it in reach. The sea's kept the same table since before anyone was able to write it down or print it out. The sea just knew what it was about, going out and coming back on the oldest, truest track. The tide table just caught up with what the ocean never stopped. Tide table, low